and you guys can elaborate on this with each other as much as you want. Tell us about times that maybe the unexpected happened and what you guys do to remedy it during, could be during any mission.
Oh, well, the unexpected, you know, we train for the unexpected. When we're doing simulations, and we spend, every flight controller or flight director spends at least a day a week in the control center doing generic training or flight control or flight specific training. And like I always say, when you go over there for 8 hours of training, if you've got, if every one of the dozen front room disciplines has one failure, it's pretty much a waste of their day, because that's easy to work, right? But you have to remember that the flight director and the Capcom are working 12. So if everybody gets 2 failures for the day, it's still a waste of their time. I mean, it's just boring, right? But the flight director and the Capcom are working 24. You can see where this is going. So if everybody gets about half a dozen failures for the day, it was a good training day. And the number of failures, I mean, it was like it wasn't just like somebody lobs a tennis ball and you fire it back. It's like a rapid fire Gatling gun of tennis balls firing at you, doing it. And because you do that all the time, when we actually have a lot of failures in flight, we really have a lot of failures in flight. We have some big ones. I remember one where we were sitting there in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden, our main guidance, navigation, and control computer just stopped. And the crew was awake, so we had to bring up another one. They brought up another one. And after a few hours, our DPS, our computer person, and our GNC person, guidance, navigation, group, came to us and said, we think we know what's happening, and we need to get on a third computer really fast. We were testing a new GPS system. It was new back then, and somebody had made a mistake in the computer code, and it was counting up every time it did a fix. And this count was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it overflowed into another register, and it took the G2 set down. And so we had to rapidly bring up another computer to get there. And those are just kind of things you're sitting there working, and you've got dozens of people in the back room trying to figure this stuff out as it happens. So that was kind of fun. It's kind of like your ISS computer thing, except you ended up with nothing.
Yeah, I don't know if we have time for that story. On the ISS, we had a similar kind of thing. We have 3 main computers on the space station, and they run everything. And we were introducing some new software we were using for the robotic arm that had just come up. And when we were going through the procedure, it goes out to this new software to get something and brings it back to activate the arm. And when it went out there, it found the problem, so it shut the computer down. It said, something's wrong, it might be me, so I'm just going to shut down. The backup computer took over, no problem at all. We looked at the procedure. The second step, I think, said, check MCC, Mission Control Center, because we were really early in the program and we didn't have a lot of procedures. So we called them, not Paul.
I won't blame you, Paul. ISS at the time.
Yeah, but so it was us. And they said, okay, well, we're working it. You guys just go back to work and keep working your procedure. So we went back to activating the arm again. It went out, looked for the software, it had the same problem. It said, oh, I must have a problem. It shut down. So we had 2 computers down. And they had brought up the third one as the backup, so it was now the main computer. And we called again, and they said, just keep working. You can guess what happened. We tried to activate it again. It said there's no problem. It shut down the third computer. It got really quiet because it shut off everything, all the fans, and we got alarms, everything. Well, no, we didn't get alarms because the computers weren't working. It just got really quiet. And it was amazing. We said, okay, what do we do now? We didn't even have radios because they didn't work. So we went over to the shuttle that happened to be there. And we called it around and told them, and they said, okay, we're working it. You guys just relax. You're in a safe attitude. Everything's okay. We'll just work on this. So we didn't know what to do, so we went and had tea. And we just relaxed while hundreds of people on the ground were solving this problem and figuring out what to do. And luckily there was a software patch they had left in. I don't know if it was accidentally or they didn't have to remove it, but this little software patch was the only thing that allowed them to restart the computers after they figured out it wasn't a computer problem, it was the new software problem. And this Mighty Mouse program is what they call it, allowed to restart the computers and save the day for the space station.
All right, I've been sitting here thinking which story to tell. But generally speaking, you know, for the most part, missions went pretty well. But every mission, you had things unexpected happen or have things, you know, that you never trained for. And for those of you who fly airplanes, you probably experienced that too. Every time it seems like I had an airplane failure, it was nothing like I trained for. It's just how it is. And so you have to be able to know what to do, when to do it, and use some judgment along the way. So I think the story I'll tell you is my flying duck story. So, first flight, I was going to go fly this thing called AirCam Sprint, and it was this little robotic ball that had a couple of cameras in it, and it had 12 little thrusters in it that just used nitrogen thrusters. And it was this ball, and we were doing a spacewalk, and they were basically going to take it out of the spacewalk, release it, and I had a little joystick in the cockpit. It's like a drone. I was going to fly this thing around in space over the payload bay. And the idea was, you take this to like a space station, and if you need a camera anywhere or go inspect something, you just pull this thing out, fly it around, do your thing, and then dock it. And so, but it was done on a shoestring budget, and I thought, you know, here I am, a rookie pilot on my first flight. They're going to let me fly something around the payload bay and the radiators. Right? I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, what are they thinking? But anyway, it was all good. And so, so the day before, I was checking it out. And it was it had to run some commands through a laptop, and it had its own special laptop. And this laptop used an old system called OS2, if anybody's familiar with that. But we also we always carried a whole bunch of laptops on the shuttle that were networked together. And what we did is we took data from the shuttle to these laptops. That's how we actually kept our avionics upgraded on the shuttle. We never actually upgraded the avionics. We just took the data, used the laptop computers to give us something, you know, we could understand better or get more situational awareness. So I start up this OS2 laptop, and I've done it a million times. I know what I'm doing. It's all hooked up right. I turn it on, and instead of I didn't even get the blue screen of death. You know, I got nothing. What I got this cartoon, and there was these ducks flying across the screen. And so, and you know, all of our laptops are Windows-based except for this one. And so I called down to the ground, called the Capcom, it was Billy Mack, Bill MacArthur, great guy, and who's, by the way, is the expert in laptop computers for our whole office. He was really good at IT stuff. And so I said, hey, Billy Mack, I just turned on this computer for Sprint, and I got flying ducks. And I got the standard answer, stand by. Right? That's the first thing they teach you in flight school. Say, stand by. That's right. Yeah. Anyway, so they're looking, and so he calls back in about an hour and a half, and he goes, hey, Steve, so shut it, you know, start it up again, and it said, when you see the Windows screen come up, hit like F4 or something. And I go, Billy Mack, this is not Windows, it's running OS2. And he said, oh, and I never heard from them again. So I did what you know, I used to do in the old F4 days, is I kind of hit it a couple times, and rebooted it about 3 or 4 times, and finally got it to work. But I never knew what went wrong, and nobody ever did explain to me the flying ducks and where they came from. But anyway, we managed to fly it, and everything was great. So.